welcome back to another vlog today, the first away game of the 2019-20 season as we make the fairly long journey to Macclesfield Town, and which is a game that could definitely be quite a good one. Macclesfield narrowly missed out on getting a result at Exeter last week. As everyone knows, that's a tough place to go with a team like that, and I've heard that they were very unlucky and that they battered Exeter really for 90 minutes away from home, and they lost 1-0. And obviously we come off the back end of a very positive week, winning 1-0 at home to Cheltenham. So I think first of all, I've got to give Sol Campbell a lot of credit for what he did there last season, because he's done a very, very good job. And I feel like today is going to be a tough game, a tough test. First home game of the season for them. They'll want to get off to a good start. Last week's gone now. That doesn't really mean anything. So they'll want to definitely put up a fight and show and prove to people why they're good enough to stay up, because they've already been pinpointed as one of the favourites to get relegated. In my opinion, I don't think they will. I think Sol Campbell's too good a manager, as proven with last season, to keep them up. I think he's more than good enough to keep this team up. I see they've made 4 signings yesterday, which could work in our favour if they decide to play a couple of them, because obviously they're not integrated into their team yet and they've only just literally turned up. So, I think I'm wary of this game, because I know that although we come in as the favourites according to the bookies, it doesn't really mean anything, and that they're going to be a tough team to beat, I reckon. And our record at Macclesfield isn't very good either, so that's another one that won't help us. But no, I'm fairly positive, but like I say, very wary of the opposition that's in front of us. There's been bad weather recently, so last night it was a bit nervy whether to this game was going to go ahead. Nothing officially said, but you just see the forecast, it just rain, and that still is the case. So hopefully, touch wood, we'll get up there and the game will be on and it'll be fine. Because imagine going all that way to Macclesfield for it to get called off at 3 o'clock. That would be, it'd be horrible. But more on the game. Injury-wise, nothing changed from last week for us, other than Dean Brill, who, according to the O's show episode yesterday, he said he's alright, and that he was back in full training on Tuesday. So we'll see. I personally feel Sarge deserves to start after he ended the game. I think that'd be very harsh to drop him for that reason. So I'd stick with Sargent. I'd stick with Sargent anyway throughout the season, but even more so if there's not a reason to do that throughout the season, you've got to give him this game, because he deserves this game. He done well last week. But yeah, I'd like to see a bit more of that link-up play from Angle and Wilkinson, which will obviously get better week in, week out. Angle looked very good and sharp last week to show what he can do. And I think it's just the case of them two getting on the score sheet for the first time. And I think you're looking at 2 very solid strikers that will go and get you some goals, but it's just about getting that first goal to get them off the mark. But yeah, like I say, I'm wary. I know Macclesfield have some good players. They've got a good manager, and obviously last time we visited here, which was really not that long ago, it was very different. They were literally about to be crowned champions and could have been against us. We denied them that by drawing 0-0 and Tranmere's result on that day, and they won the league the following week. And I remember going there and thinking, I'd love for this to be us next season, and obviously it was. So it's nice to come back, I guess, to see like the change and to see where both clubs are now. But yeah, I know it's going to be tough today, and I'm looking forward to it. Away days are back for the rest of the season, and I've missed them a lot. My score prediction today, I don't know. I think it could be a high-scoring game. The surface and that isn't great. Conditions aren't great, so it makes up for quite a few spills and maybe some thrills. So I'm gonna go 3-2 Orient. I'm gonna go 3-2 to the O's, but I'll probably take a point as well. So yeah, let's head up to Macclesfield, up the O's.
Yes. Yes, back in there. Overhead kick. Shoot! He's all over it.
Go on, Jordan. Nice. Unlucky.
Good ball.
Almost direct from the corner. All they're doing is hoofing. 1-0 Macclesfield, they don't deserve it either, just a great strike, but bad defender from Brophy. And then Brill, also the question. Nobody.
Bang it. Bang it.
Oh no.
Oh, that wind really is taking it.
Yeah, the wind's not helping me at all. 1 minute added on, second half just kicked off.
Oh, go on.
Oh, I'm looking to Macclesfield.
Where is it?
Oh, go on, Ling.
Go on. Play it back. Help him, Ling. Help him, Ling.
Ref, come on. Ah, right.
Go on, then.
Go on. Ref. Hey, finally. Orient. Watch Coulson coming in.
Yes. Get out to it first.
Come on, Ling. That's all right. In the box. Win it. Corner. That's a corner, yeah. Come on. There's Dennis on from Maguire. Drew, he needed that change desperately. Let's see what he's like. That's a decent knock.
That's ours.
It's not going.
Oh my God.
So fluky. Absolutely nothing. It's over the break, on the break, over the top. That's too shit. Let's get one. Oh, angle! Coulson off and Harold on, so very attacking. I mean, we may as well have done that. It's best option. Angle off. And a lobby coming on. Didn't do anything, so 3-0. Fucking embarrassing. 5 minutes added on.
Why didn't he shoot?
Oh wow, should have shot.
Quick, not long for him to score. Oh, what is that, man?
Full time 3-0, absolutely embarrassing. Nothing short of embarrassing.
So you can see I'm now back from the game, and it is in fact Sunday evening and I've just got back from work, which is why I have decided to upload Sunday going into Monday, and that was the same last week because I do work quite long shifts on the Sunday, so the Saturday night, especially games like that when you're getting a bit later on, you just kind of want to sit down and chill out and just get relaxed before work the next day. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of uploading at this point. It won't always be like that going forward, but it has been for the last 2 games, so I apologise for that, but it is what it is. And there is also no time lapse on this video because at one point it looked like I wasn't going to make the game because of so much traffic and the M42 being closed, and we were stuck in that for over an hour due to a car being on fire, so I didn't even have a time lapse up till that point, and then I thought I weren't going to make it, so I was quite annoyed obviously, but in the end the day went downhill anyway, so I may as well have not made the game. But let's assess what went wrong. The team selection was exactly the same as the one that started and got the win over Cheltenham on the opening day, so you know that was the right team to select, no problems with that. But I thought we played some okay stuff up until their first goal, but we didn't seem to really get going. You know, we never looked that much of a threat. But we had more possession, but we didn't do much with it, basically. And their goal, to be fair to them, was a very good goal, but the defending leading up to it was woeful. And that was the story of the day, really. The defence was absolutely shocking. And we just didn't ever pick ourselves up after that and seemed to get going. I mean, in the second half, we did have a spell for a while where we had loads of corners. But they, as you can imagine, they are such a big physical side that we just couldn't seem to break them down or win much against them in the air, which is surprising considering, in the National League last season when you come up against defences, stereotypically, like Macclesfield, we always scored from corners. That was our, main threat really that we posed. We always scored a lot of goals from set pieces, and I know it's obviously been 2 games, so you can't really say much, but we didn't really look that dangerous from set pieces yesterday, which, like I say, is surprising because of last season we were very good. Coulson and Ekpateta got, I think it was 13 goals between them. So that tells you everything from a centre half pairing. But yeah, we had that good spell, and then we got hit on the break because we were pushing so much to get the equaliser, and then they just went clean through. There is maybe an appeal to say that could have been offside, because one of their players who was in an offside position literally run across our defence, and you can see in the highlights Coulson looking over, and so did Marv, because they kind of thought that he impeded and interrupted play. So it wasn't given. The bloke went clean through and slotted it home past Dean Brewer, who couldn't really do anything. And that was probably the game gone there and then. I don't think anyone thought we would come back from that. I'd say for large parts of the game, we were the better team, even though we didn't play that well and we didn't get going. But we never really looked like we were going to score. We never really looked like we posed a threat. So that's a little bit worrying. And then the third goal was just that epitomised everything that went wrong. Really, their players just looked deflated. Happy was. It was atrocious defending. He just literally stood there, and Vassell headed in from the corner, and that was 3-0. And from that point onwards, it was a case of let's just not concede anymore and make it more embarrassing than it already is. I said before I was wary of Macclesfield and the quality that they have. Teams like that at the bottom that are written off at the start of the season, they have that extra motivation, and you find that they do seem to do well because they want to prove people wrong from such a early point. And it was a very convincing win from their point of view, 3-0 over us, and it's concerning. I don't know where the goals look like they're going to come from. Wilkinson and Angol, I think there's glimpses there that they look okay, but I think they might cost us at points in the season, especially with Angol. He looks, his attitude is not, I wouldn't say bad, but he looks someone that gets wound up very easily, and he gives it as well, and it didn't look like he had much control over his emotions. So as much as I reckon he'll be a good player for us, I reckon he could cause us some problems in terms of bookings and getting sent off. But yeah, nothing about that performance yesterday resembled anything that we did last season. I think the only player that really you'd say actually had a good game was Clay, because he was everywhere in the midfield again, and that's what he does. But yeah, it's a very bad day at the office, which is an understatement, and I think that's me putting it kindly, because at the time I weren't describing it like that at all, I'll tell you that. To be honest with you, it's nothing short of embarrassing. We were an embarrassment yesterday, and I know it's only 2 games and we've got 3 points on the board, and it doesn't really mean anything, and you'll have to give Ross time, of course, and then give the players, and then because we've had quite a few new players and players go, time to gel a bit, and I think we'll be alright. I think we'll be probably around mid-table at the end of the season. But yeah, it's a massive letdown, obviously, especially when you go on long away days like that and you look forward to it so much, throughout the summer, and then you get beat by the relegation favourites, which I've already said, and I don't think they will go down. But they were a dirty side, I wouldn't say they were better than us. They exploited our defensive errors at the end of the day, and I think in the end they got what they deserved because they were more clinical than us, and we didn't create enough. But we have a away game in the EFL Cup first round at Plymouth, literally the worst draw you could have got. Going from Macclesfield to Plymouth away in the space of a couple of days, which I'm not going to go to. I'm not bothered about that competition, to be honest. Of course, I hope we win and do well, but you know, what's the point? Because we're not going to win it. It's not a great draw. But safe travels to everyone heading down to Plymouth. I imagine there'll be a lot of changes for that game, but we go again next week in the league at home to Stevenage. So I'll see you then. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Videos. I forgot to mention it at the end, but in the last week's vlog, and from now continuing every vlog I do, I'll leave a link to the Justin Edinburgh Free Foundation in the description, so anything you can donate at all would be massively appreciated by them. Obviously it's a fantastic charity close to everybody's hearts at Orient, so yeah, any donations to that would be massively appreciated. Thank you.